Hello, gorgeous people, and hello to all of the new people who came to the channel recently via Tarot by Janine's Telegram site. So, hello to everybody. How are you? Today I'm going to talk about butterflies, evolution, and suffering, but not necessarily in that order. I'll tell you all about it on the other side. So it goes without saying that I was talking to the emissaries the other day, but I was talking to them about the Great Awakening. Now, I don't know how you feel about where we are, but the sense that I get and what I'm hearing from all of the people who are in this movement, the people who have a voice, is that they're all seeing this massive acceleration in terms of the awakening. And this is a massive acceleration in terms of the numbers of people that are waking up. I just listened to somebody talking about the way, you remember when the emissaries talked about the waves that were going to wake people up, distinct waves. And then they said, but they're all happening at the same time. And then I was listening to somebody who was talking about that very thing, that waking up is cyclical. And what he meant by that was that no matter where you grab the tail of the tiger, it's going to take you to all of them. I remember when we woke up for one thing, just seeing one thing. But then you can't help but ask the question, if they are lying about this, what else are they lying about? Once the doors open, once the person has made the decision that they have been lied to, that something isn't right, that's it. It's a fait accompli. You can't undo it. You can't unsee it. You can't unhear it. And this is kind of where we are. And this is what the emissaries are saying. This is why they were saying that they were very, very busy. You know, they're recruiting. They're getting more. They're a bigger being because there's such a lot of work going on at the moment. So they said to me that the Great Awakening only has one direction. It's only going in one direction. And it can't be stopped. What they said was it was like a machine, like a train that's got a broken off switch. No matter what the baddies do, they can't switch it off. I tell you what this showed me, and this was interesting because they often give me these kind of metaphors, visual metaphors. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's happened to me a few times where you've got a machine and you press the off button and it switches itself off. It's happened with tablets with me. It switches itself off and then it comes back on again. And it's like no matter what you try to do, it won't switch off. It just keeps coming back on. That's what they showed me. They showed me with a toy train. And you switch it off and it goes and comes back on again and just keeps going. That's where we are. It's unstoppable. There's nothing that they can do, and the baddies know fine well what's happening. And they know fine well that they can't stop it. They can halt it a little bit, they can put stuff on the track, but there ain't no stopping it. So there's something else I want you to understand about the relationship that I've got with the emissaries. Right? It's beautiful, and they give me lots of, they've done wonderful things, they've completely changed my life. But also I sometimes try to be the devil's advocate with them. I don't just let them say their stuff. I ask polemic questions, okay, sometimes. But sometimes the polemic question has a really funny answer. They're kind of, they've got a sense of humor. So I said to them, so are we winning? I always ask, how's it going? Are we winning? Is everything going all right? Are we winning? Yes, they said. They said, that's not really the right way to say it, because this has already been won. This was always won. So I said, being the devil's advocate, being polemic, I said to them, okay, so if this was always won, then why were you sent? Why were you sent? If the plan was always going to happen and it was always going to be, we were going to win, why did you have to come? And they said, that's because we are part of the plan, and we've always been part of the plan. So I kind of thought, oh, well, okay then. I mean, when I think about it, it was a stupid question. But well, they do say there's no such thing as a stupid question. As the Chinese say, ask a silly question and look stupid for a moment, keep quiet and be stupid for the rest of your life. I like that. I like that idea. So they're part of the plan. So this plan's all laid out and it's happening and there's no stopping it. And the fact that remember, the emissaries have said that they are working with multitudes of people, and maybe with different names. By the way, just as an aside, they give me the name, the emissaries of God, and they give me that name because they knew that was going to be a test for me, because of where I came from, my background. To actually have a name and say, by the way, I am receiving information from the emissaries of God. They knew that they were going to put me in the most awkward, uncomfortable position ever. I don't think that they use that name with everybody. Definitely, I know they don't. It was just for me. It was like, you have to have this name. Interesting. So the other question I asked them was this. If this battle's already won, if everything is already sorted, then why don't we just get through it? Why is it dragging on? For God's sake, why? Why can't we just go through and get to the nice bit? And they said, because the whole point of this is this part. The whole point of our evolution is that we must go through this process. This process cannot be skipped. And of course, it makes absolute sense, because even when I talk in my therapy world, I often talk about suffering, how people, to actually move from one place to another, they must be sick and tired of being sick and tired. They must suffer. Without the suffering, without the turmoil, without the tribulation, we don't become what we have to become. It's through the process that we actually become better. Look at yourself and what's happened to you over the last 2 years, right? Because we said 2 years, 2.5 years, because this has been this is when this shit got real, yeah? Look what it's done to you. Look how your connections are. Look at how strong you are compared to when you started. We don't know what our capacity is. We never know how strong we are until we're challenged. Remember, our biggest enemy is comfort. We must come out of the comfort. We must be in discomfort, because it's in that process of discomfort, in that process of, I feel like I want to run away from this. That's when we find out really what we're made of. That's when we find out we find out exactly how strong we are. Look at the connections we've made. Look at the way that we've developed ourselves. Look what we've had to go through. The trials, the tribulations. Notice how much stronger you feel. Right? That's because we must go through this process. And if we were skipped through it, if we piggybacked through that or leaped through it, we wouldn't be able to move, to ascend to where we have to be. It's the process that allows us to ascend. Yeah? So that's what they were saying. And I heard a story that kind of explains that perfectly. And it was about a man who was watching the development of a chrysalis. And he said that he looked at this chrysalis every day, and it never moved, it never changed. It was just there, solid. And then one day he saw a crack appear in the chrysalis, and he got all excited about it. And he was watching it just non-stop. And the crack was getting bigger and bigger, and then the chrysalis kind of opened up, and out crawled this butterfly, but its wings were all wrinkled and all curled up, and it was just stood there, and its wings were all kind of damp and they didn't look great. And so, wanting to help it, he thought, well, maybe what I could do is I could blow some warm air over the wings, and that'll dry them out, and that'll help the butterfly to be able to get to, the next stage. And so he started to blow just gently over the butterfly, and sure enough, the wings did dry out, but they dried out before they could open up properly. And so the butterfly was crippled and could never fly. And the man realized that what he'd done was no favor for the butterfly, because he tried to speed up a process that has its natural speed. And it's for that reason that when we say, why don't they help us more? Why don't they intervene? Why don't they come and take us through this? It's for exactly that reason, because we've come here to go through this. This is the whole point. And if they were to come and to help us through it and to take all the badness away, and don't worry, we'll make it all good, we would be no different when we got to the other side. In fact, we would be different. We would be weaker. But no, we're going to get to the other side, and we're going to do this ourselves. We don't need to wait for a savior. We are our saviors. And we'll get through this to the other side, and we'll be stronger, and we will have ascended, and we will have the most beautiful pair of wings ever, and we'll be able to fly to the next dimension. That's what this is all about. That's why nobody's coming to help us. They don't need to. This process has been set up for eons. It's always going to be like this. And when we come back round and we do it again, it's going to be like that again. And we're going to wish that somebody's going to come and help us, and then we're going to realize that actually we are the ones who have come to help us. Yeah? So there we are. I hope that helps. Have a lovely weekend, and I love you all, and I'll see you later on in the week. Bye-bye.